Banning books was once seen as the ultimate sin, and something that only the Nazis would do. But today, we're seeing a growing number of books disappearing down the memory hole in the name of political correctness and stopping hate speech. I'm not talking about adult books, which are clearly inappropriate for children and have no place in school libraries. I'm talking about Amazon banning books written by an evolutionary psychology professor at a major university, one by an anti-immigration activist, books critical of transgenderism, and more. Stay tuned because there's plenty more to come in this video, but real quick, if you enjoy watching my videos, you'll really love reading my books because they're filled with everything I can't post or say on big tech platforms, and it's not about being provocative or offensive. Those who've read my books can attest that they're scholarly research, filled with nearly 1,000 footnotes each, and show my serious side, which I try to convey in these in-depth reports. I actually like writing more than making YouTube videos. I think my best work can be found in my books. And someday Amazon will probably ban them, so get them while you can. Those who have read them know that this is not a sales pitch, that's the truth. So order my new one, The War on Conservatives, in paperback on Amazon.com, or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below, so click it and head on over there and check it out. 65% of all books are sold through Amazon, and they have a virtual monopoly over the entire industry. They are the reason that Borders, Walden Books, and B. Dalton went out of business. Amazon advertises themselves as the world's largest bookstore, where you can find practically any book, new or used, since if they don't stock it, they supposedly allow anyone to list used copies for sale themselves. For almost 30 years since Amazon was launched in 1995, they would sell any book, new or used. But recently, that all changed. In 2018, a children's book titled No Dress for Timmy was banned for being transphobic. It was written by Shefflorn Bellantine and described as a story of a little boy who finds himself in a perplexing situation where he was forced to choose between speaking the truth and cheering on a friend who thinks of himself as a girl. The young protagonist basically wouldn't support a transgender classmate, and it's meant to teach children the differences between boys and girls. After an LGBT advocacy organization called Family Rhetoric discovered it when searching for LGBT-themed children's books, they launched a campaign to pressure Amazon to ban the book, which they did. The group later celebrated on their Facebook page. That was one of the first books that Amazon banned, but it didn't generate any press other than a blog post or two. The following year, in 2019, they banned books by Dr. Joseph Nicolosi, who is best known for advocating conversion therapy for homosexuals. His books, Healing Homosexuality and A Parent's Guide to Preventing Homosexuality, were taken down after sustained pressure campaigns from LGBT activists. Perhaps Amazon will ban some of Sigmund Freud's books next, because he believed that homosexuality was caused by a disruption in a child's development due to a dysfunctional relationship with their parents in terms of the role those parents fill in their lives. And you're definitely not supposed to talk about how hormone levels in the womb affect the INAH3 region of the brain, which is responsible for sexual orientation, or how high levels of BPA, the synthetic estrogen, bisphenol A, has been found in laboratory studies to make the offsprings of animal test subjects gay. Because if scientists admit it's a birth defect, then that's hateful, and preventing it would be tantamount to eugenics. In 2021, a book titled When Harry Became Sally was banned by Amazon, which did make headlines and got the attention of a few Republican members of Congress who denounced the censorship. And then Amazon issued a statement saying that they are now banning any books which claim that transgenderism or any LGBTQ identity is a mental illness. LGBT activists have been pressuring Amazon in hopes of getting other books about transgenderism banned as well, including Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters by Abigail Schreier, and The End of Gender, Debunking the Myths About Sex and Identity in Our Society by Dr. Deborah So. But these days, liberals claim that conservatives want to ban books because normal people don't want X-rated books on the shelf in elementary school or middle school libraries. Liberals are upset that some school libraries are pulling pornographic queer books off the shelves and are denouncing parents who show up at school board meetings and demand that they be removed. But Playboy and Penthouse magazines aren't available in school libraries because obviously certain kinds of material isn't appropriate for children. But liberals want books banned banned from being accessed and read by adults. Not books about sex. Liberals love books about sex. They want books about a variety of other subjects banned that they don't want people to talk about or even know about. Juanita Broderick's book about Bill Clinton allegedly raping her was removed in 2018 and then later restored. It appears that Amazon keeps testing how far they can push the envelope by gauging the backlash, but not everyone is so lucky to have their books relisted after conservative media reports denounced the censorship. In August 2018, Amazon banned a book that contained plans to build a 3D printed gun called the Liberator Codebook, which had been listed by the publisher a few weeks earlier. An Amazon spokesman said that it violated their guidelines, yet they sell the Anarchist Cookbook and other bomb-making manuals. The Anarchist Cookbook's author, William Powell, later denounced his terrorist manual, which he wrote in 1971 when he was just 19 years old. But he doesn't own the rights to the book. The publisher does, now Ozark Press, which keeps it in print and which Amazon still sells. If you order that book, you'll probably get put on an FBI watch list, and it might even give them enough reason to get a search warrant, which may be why they allow it to be listed on the site as a honeypot. So don't buy it out of curiosity. That book is extremely dangerous. So No Dress for Timmy and When Harry Became Sally are too transphobic to be sold on Amazon, but a literal bomb-making manual used by terrorists in numerous high-profile bombings is okay. Amazon has banned so many books it would take an hour to go through them all, but I'll mention a few more and you can figure out for yourself why it takes me, a guy in my kitchen on a laptop, to break this news, and why every single other supposed leader in the culture war and the conservative Twitter personalities and those whose shows are funded by Turning Point USA, The Blaze, The Daily Wire, and PragerU never told you any of this. Jared Taylor, a leader in the white identity or pro-white community, had several of his books censored from Amazon in early 2019, including White Identity, Racial Consciousness in the 21st Century, despite having been sold on the site since 2011. The following month, Tommy Robinson's book, Muhammad's Quran, Why Muslims Kill for Islam, was banned from Amazon just days after Facebook and Instagram banned him, in response to Tommy posting a documentary critical of the BBC on his YouTube channel. His book was also deemed Islamophobic. Of course, there are countless books about the Christian Inquisition and all the horrible things the Catholic Church has done in the name of Jesus, but when an anti-Islam activist becomes an enemy of the politically correct police, his book gets banned. Then in March 2019, Amazon banned David Duke's autobiography, My Awakening, and another one of his books titled Jewish Supremacism. The books have been available on Amazon since they first came out, one in 1998 and the other in 2004, but were removed shortly after a no-name freelance writer inquired about why Amazon was selling books written by a white supremacist. They're not just shown as out of stock or unavailable. The entire listings for the books have been deleted, and Amazon is also prohibiting third-party sellers from listing used copies as well. Yeah, he was in the KKK, which is a clown show, almost 50 years ago, but unlike Democrat Robert Byrd, who wasn't just a member of the KKK, but started his own chapter where he lived in West Virginia because there wasn't a group for him to hang out with there, he was welcomed to the U.S. Senate while David Duke's books aren't allowed to be read, and none of the brand name leaders of the free speech movement have ever denounced such censorship. First Amendment advocates used to say that while they may not agree with what someone says, they'll defend their right to say it, but now the brand name corporate conservatives are too afraid to be called racist or anti-Semitic to even acknowledge that Amazon banned his autobiography. Retired evolutionary psychology professor Kevin McDonald, who was a professor at California State University Long Beach, wrote a book called The Culture of Critique, an evolutionary analysis of Jewish involvement in 20th century intellectual and political movements, which was banned in March 2019, just 2 weeks after Jared Taylor's book White Identity was banned. A college professor's book was banned because it was deemed anti-Semitic. Not some barely literate Nazi who self-published a book and listed it on Amazon, a California State University professor. And not a single one of the brand name conservatives who claim to be fighting against censorship said a word about it. Books promoting the alt-right were also banned, including one titled A Fair Hearing, the alt-right in the words of its members and leaders, and others like one simply titled The Alternative Right, which documents the rise and fall of the movement movement, none of which call for any violence, and they had all been in stock on Amazon for years. And to be clear, I'm not endorsing these books, the alt-right, or the idea of creating a white ethno-state, which I think is just a nostalgic pipe dream some people cling to and an impossible endeavor by those who wish to return to an era that has long since passed, a dream that is the equivalent of belling the cat. Not to mention Richard Spencer is a complete douchebag, but people should be able to hear what the authors of such books have to say if they want to. Most are just expressing their view as white people who are increasingly becoming marginalized and demonized by the liberal media industrial complex simply for existing. And people wanting to live in a neighborhood or a community where they share a culture, a history, customs, and values with others does not make them white nationalists. But as you know, only black people are allowed to say that they want to live in an ethnically homogenous community. Amazon certainly wouldn't ban Malcolm X's autobiography, even though he was a black nationalist and called for racial separatism and wanted to live in a black-only region of the United States. Black power and black supremacist books are allowed, with one or two exceptions that were published by the Nation of Islam, which were removed not for anti-whiteism, because that's always allowed, but for anti-Semitism. After CNN successfully pressured Amazon to censor various popular documentary films from their Prime Video streaming service in March 2019, which questioned the safety of some vaccines, the fake news network went on to lament that Amazon still sold anti-vaccine books, so Amazon soon banned several anti-vax books for promoting what they called vaccine misinformation. CNN also pressured Amazon to ban Alex Jones documentaries after he was banned from all social media because they were still available to buy on DVD, and some could even be streamed through Amazon Prime. In May of 2016, Apple banned one of my books, Inside the from their ebook store, iBooks, because they claimed it promoted a competitor to their ebook store, since in the book it mentions that if the readers enjoy the book, my other titles are available in all other major ebook stores, including Kindle, Nook, and Google Play. They did restore the book after I put them on blast in a video about the censorship, but that's the exact kind of censorship I warned about in my 2011 book, Big Brother, the Orwellian Nightmare Come True. Their systems read through the books looking for offensive material, just like the big tech platforms do. In 2009, Amazon remotely removed copies of George Orwell's 1984 from thousands of people's Kindle devices after they discovered that the publisher who listed the ebook didn't have the rights to it. They didn't just pull the listing from the store, they deleted copies off people's Kindles. At least they refunded the people their money, but this is why digital content is so dangerous. If people bought a paperback book or a DVD or a Blu-ray disc that was later deemed sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, anti-Semitic, whatever, the only way to remove them from people's possessions would be to physically break into their homes and confiscate them. But now that can be done remotely with the push of a button. Whether it's from your Kindle, iPad, your DVR, or your digital library of content you purchased from Amazon Prime, Apple, YouTube, or any other digital content provider, and it can all be done in a split second. Some of the books banned from Amazon and Barnes & Noble may be available on eBay, although eBay has banned copies of Dr. Seuss books the publisher put out of print, and activist groups are targeting eBay because people have been selling used copies of other material that has been banned from Amazon. The activists are also targeting other lesser known but still large online book retailers like thriftbooks.com, booksamillion.com, and betterworldbooks.com. So if you're into reading forbidden books, then you know where to look. And speaking of books, I have a new one out called The War on Conservatives, which I'm sure you're really going to love. So order it in paperback from Amazon by clicking the link in the description below, or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores. If you like watching my videos, you're really going to love reading my books because they're filled with all the information I can't say out loud on YouTube or post on social media. And that's not because I want to be offensive or shocking. It's simply because certain information is systemically suppressed and censored by the thought police. And they're not beyond banning books either, as you know. So order The War on Conservatives while you can. And when you're there, pick up some of my other books as well. So head on over to Amazon.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.